What's up, guys? Welcome to the show. Got a new segment today. Car talk cardio. It's really hard to say, but I got my little videographer with me today, who I happen to marry. And I got this idea from watching Jay Cutler TV. I don't know if you guys know who Jay Cutler is, but he was a bodybuilder from back in the day in the 90s and 2000s. And he does these videos where he just walks and talks. He calls it jaywalking. And I love it. It's the best part of his channel. And I thought, man, this would be a really good idea for my channel. Instead of talking about old bodybuilding stories or whatever he talks about, let's talk about car stuff. So that's what we're going to do today. So in today's cardio walk, we're going to talk about new builds coming to the channel at some point, something for you to get excited about. And these are things I've been thinking about for a long time and want to roll out at some point. You know, it's just all about time and money, but
and space.
And space. Excellent point. But you know, something cool to look forward to. And I want to hear what you guys think about it. And I want to hear kind of what you guys want to see first. So, in no particular order, here are a couple builds I'm considering rolling out in the next year or so. So back in the day, and when I say back in the day, I'm talking like 1998, I bought a 1995 Miata. Great car. Got it for a steal. And proceeded to build that over many, many years. Kind of became a garage queen. And, you know, really enjoyed that car. Never let me down too, man. That car was just mechanically flawless. So one of the cars that I'd love to build here in the future is another one. And that one that I had, I wound up doing a lot of Jackson Racing parts, which is a sense of defunct company that used to make superchargers and many other parts, but it had a Jackson Racing supercharger on it, Jackson Racing header, Flying Miata catback, I'm sorry, Racing V catback. It had, this was kind of right when coilovers just started to come out. So I didn't have coilovers. I had Flying Miata springs, I had KYB 8-way adjustable struts, Flying Miata or Racing Beat rear sway bar, one of the two. I can't remember which one it was. I'll tell you this though, that sway bar actually kind of ruined the car. Just became way too stiff in the rear. But anyway, loads of goodies. It was really a great car. If I still had that car today, I could take it to any car show and it would turn heads. I mean, it was really beautiful. So anyway, I'd love to build another one, except this time I'd go all Flying Miata. Flying Miata, I think it's called the Voodoo Stage 2 or 3 Turbo. I'd go with a Flying Miata clutch and lightweight flywheel. And then for suspension, I'd find like a good coilover suspension, maybe BC Racing.
I don't see your thing.
Definitely do a hard dog roll bar. And they used to make one that was really cool. It looked like a pretzel. It's really hard to describe, but it looked like a pretzel. And I'd ask them to custom make me that thing again because they stopped making it for whatever reason, but it was awesome. So definitely get one of those. I'd love some Buddy Club seats. They are just fit in the Miata perfect. One thing about NA Miatas is the cockpit is so small that many aftermarket seats don't fit in there well. So you got to find one that's killer narrow, fit in properly. And from what I've seen, those Buddy Club ones, man, they fit in like a glove and they just look so cool. So definitely would go with that. And then I would probably put a new top on it, because you know those old vinyl tops, they're all garbage. Put a new top on it. Oh, wheels and tires. God, we haven't talked about wheels and tires. What would I do for wheels and tires? Now I had on mine, I had 16x7 SSR integrals. And that was before JDM wheels, getting attacked by the bushes. That was before JDM wheels are what they are today, where everybody has to have a JDM wheel. I just thought they looked awesome. They did cost a pretty penny, but they were totally worth it because obviously they held up super well. And I was living in New Jersey at the time, so they dealt with the winters, no issue. So as far as wheels and tires, I think I would actually go for more of kind of a stance look, something with an aggressive offset that has a little bit of poke, but can still you know, put it down on the streets when you need it. So maybe something like a 15 by 9 something like that. I don't know. I haven't looked into the wheels all that much, but I'll find something that's light and works well. And then when it comes to brakes, I don't know that I do anything with the brakes. Stock Miata stuff's fantastic already. Maybe just an aggressive pad, maybe some hawks or something like that up front, maybe in the rear as well. Some slotted rotors because they look cool. So yeah, definitely want to build a Miata again someday. It's definitely going to happen. But moving on to the next build that I'd love to do, and then I'll probably be on the channel before you know it, is build another another CRX. So the Honda CRX, to me, the greatest car that was ever built. I mean, I absolutely love it. Everything about the car I think is perfect. The power to weight distribution, the way it looks, the just awesome interior. I just love everything about the car. And I'd love to build one. Obviously change the engine. And for me, a car like that doesn't need a lot of horsepower. It's already 1,900 pounds soaking wet. All it needs is something a little bit stronger than that little single cam that it comes with. Back in the day, I've always wanted to do a ZC engine, which is the engine you would get in Japan. And that ZC is very similar to the B21 that's in my Prelude. It's a dual overhead cam, but there is no VTEC. This is before VTEC. Now I know those engines aren't known to be the best engines in the world. I think they put out 130 horsepower and like 110 foot-pounds of torque, which again is an upgrade from the stock single cam that you get with the CRX, but we can do a little bit better than that. I know a lot of people go with the V16 and the CRX, and that makes sense to me. My only problem with the V16 is it just seems like it's so expensive. They're so hard to find at a good price. Every time I see one, it's like $2,000 for a V16. It just kind of blows my mind. To me, it's like a $800 engine and it's coming with this giant price tag. So as far as engine would go, I might just do a B20. I don't know. It's just so easy to find. It's so simple. It's a big increase in horsepower over what you get stock. There are a million of them. They're dirt cheap. Maybe turbo it someday. I don't know. Maybe go B18. I'm just not sure. Another thing I don't want to do is put a K in it or an H22. And the reason is the weight. I mean, those are big displacement engines for Hondas. And they're heavy. And one of the amazing things about a CRX is how well it handles. I don't want to screw that geometry up by throwing some, giant anvil in the front of it and ruining it. So yeah, engine is a big deal. I don't know what I would do. Again, something smaller, something that's cost effective, if you will, because I don't want to spend all my money on the stupid engine and transmission. All right, so that would bring us to, let's just jump right to wheels and tires. I wouldn't do anything bigger than a 15-inch wheel on a CRX, and I wouldn't do anything wider than 8 inches. And I love the timeless look of something as simple as a Roto-Slipstream, something like that. I don't need to spend a ton of money on wheels. We don't need those JDM wheels, man. Something simple, something that's gonna work, something that's gonna look cool. But I might go for a beefier tire look on the CRX, so we'll have to see. We'll have to figure it out as we cross that bridge. I have to figure out what color it would be too. I don't know what color it would be. I don't know if I would totally change the color of the car, because I might. But I don't know what color I'd go with.
Red.
Red is good. Red is a good one. The problem with red, if you don't know this, red paint is really expensive. It's really expensive. So if you want to paint your car red right off the rip, it's going to cost more money because of the color. So something to think about.
Why is it more money?
It just is. It costs more to get made. So
interesting.
So suspension wise, again, we're gonna go with the coilovers. I might go old school with the coilovers though. I might go the ground control coilovers with some Coney struts. It's just a tried and true setup that belongs on a CRX. Been used 1,000 different times, and it's just a solid suspension setup. And I've never had it on a car, so you know, always seen it in magazines and thought to myself, dude, how cool would that be to have it on a car? So the CRX would be perfect for that suspension setup, and it doesn't break the bank. I mean, they're basically going to be cheaper than coilovers. So one of the things that if you have a CRX, in my opinion, that you have to have this, and they're really, really hard to find, and you're going to wind up spending a lot of money on it. It's one of those things, you have to have it. That is a new speed strut brace in the front. You have to have that thing. Every single CRX that I can ever remember looking at in a magazine had that new speed strut bar brace, and I just love it. I love the design. I love the way it looks in the bay. I have to have that in the bay of my CRX. There's no questions about it. So there are a lot of things that I can kind of go either way with a build like this. I cannot have the car without the new speed strut brace. It just has to be there. It has to be there. So I'm fine overpaying on something like that and then cheaping out on some cheap wheels. That'll work for me. So interior wise, I love the stock CRX seats, I'm not gonna lie. Maybe we can have them rewrapped. They're just so iconic in the way they look.
I remember them being really comfortable.
They are really comfortable. They are really comfortable. They're awesome. I would do everything I could too to have a full interior with that cool little pop-up storage unit in the back, and that thing is awesome. And the little, you know, when you open the hatch, there's a little cover there that opens along with the hatch. So I do everything I can to have a stock interior. I would have in the CRX. This is something I didn't do in the Prelude, but in the CRX, I would have or try to get an old Honda stereo, like a cassette player, like an old Honda cassette player, and install that, because it's just retro. Like it's just a timeless build, and I don't want some fancy dancy double din 7-inch touchscreen stereo in there. It just wouldn't make any sense at all. So I would definitely go old school on that. Let's talk about exhaust here. So exhaust with an older car like that, you want something that's classic. You know, if I could find a Gretty setup, that would be awesome. HKS, that would be awesome. I try to go with something like that. I know it's going to be really, really hard to find, and I'm going to pay $1 million for it. But to me, again, like the strut bar brace, we got to have something like that. You know, Vibrant makes great exhaust, but I don't want a Vibrant muffler on my 1991 CRX. It's just not going to work. So yeah, that would pretty much be the CRX build. There'd of course be some other little goodies here and there, but for the most part, that's what it would be. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments, if you think that would be cool, or what would you change. So moving on to build number 3. Again, something I've wanted to do since the end of time, and that is
The beginning of time, I mean.
the beginning of time. Thank you. That would be to build a Nissan Hardbody pickup truck, except I would turn it into kind of like a drift truck. And one of my very first cars was a Nissan Hardbody. That is the truck that kind of got me into modifying vehicles, and I did all sorts of stuff to it. Actually, back then, I didn't do anything. I paid people. I was deathly afraid of wrenching on a car. I grew up in a household where my dad could build anything out of wood, but could not change his wiper blades. I mean, it was just impossible. So he knew nothing about cars, never once for 1 second wanted to know anything about cars. And if something went wrong with your car, you went ahead and you brought it to the mechanic, the dealer, whoever. You didn't do it yourself. So anyway, yeah, I had an awesome Nissan Hardbody, did all sorts of dumb things to it, basically ruined it, and as a result, I've wanted to kind of make up for my sins and do it right this time with a little bit more horsepower. All right, so right away, you know what we got to do with this Nissan Hardbody. We got to go ahead and lower that thing down. I should mention too, it's got to be a single cab. I don't want any extra cab. I don't want any double cab. I don't want any crew cab. I want the single cab, bench seat, nothing else. So it has to be that. So we're gonna lower this thing. We're gonna do Beltec drop spindles in the front. We're gonna do Beltec monoleaf springs in the back, with possibly coupled with some lowering blocks in the rear. And if we need to lower the front more, we'll just tighten the torsion bars down. We are gonna go ahead and get a sweet wheel and tire package. And when I say sweet, I mean something like some Diamond Racing 16 by 10s in the rear, crazy dished out steelies, maybe some 16 by 9s in the front, giant tires on this thing. We're gonna go ahead and get the Nissan Hardbody 4-wheel drive fenders off of the front. Pop those, get those guys out of the junkyard, put them onto our little single cab 2-wheel drive Hardbody. Those fenders, they bulge out more, so that gives you more travel for your suspension and your wheels, because you know this thing's gonna be slammed, it's gonna be semi-stanced, it's just gonna look awesome. So we're gonna need that extra room in there. We'll probably have to pull the fenders too to get those 15 or 16 by 9s to be able to tuck underneath there. And then in the rear, I don't think the 4-wheel drive fenders will fit. Someone correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments, but somehow we're gonna have to create some distance in the back. Maybe flares or something, I don't know. We're definitely doing a C-notch. No doubt about that, we gotta do a C-notch. And we're gonna do a rear disc conversion, maybe even a 5-lug conversion. If you don't know, Nissan Hardbodies are 6-lug. I'd love to do a 5-lug conversion. Put some dual piston brakes up in the front, some calipers and some regular discs in the back. You're gonna have a radical paint job too, or at least a radical color with some really cool graphics that maybe are vinyl, you know, something like that. And let's see, what else would we do with the front end? Front end stock. We get rid of the rear bumper, put a roll pan in, color match that. I would do a exhaust that would exit right behind the driver's side door, right in front of the rear wheel. So it would come out right in front of the rear wheel. That would look sick. And let's talk about the engine. So if you guys don't know, the engine in the Nissan Hardbody, which is absolutely bulletproof, man. Those things go and go and go thousands of miles. It is basically, correct me if I'm wrong, it's basically like a dumbed down version of the engine that comes in the 240SX from the early 90s. So all you have to do to get that 240SX engine is you pull your head off and you swap it with the cylinder head from one of those 240SXs, and boom, they have the same bottom end. So then once you do that, you can go ahead and buy any turbo kit that fits a 240SX and literally throw the thing right in there. So anyway, yeah, we would basically have a turbocharged 240SX engine in there. The Nissan Hardbody is a killer light vehicle, especially the single cab. I don't know exactly what the curb weight is, but I don't think it's much more than 2,500 pounds. We have a killer light car, 300 horsepower, rear wheel drive, awesome fun thing to drive around in, man. That would be awesome. Now as far as the interior goes in that, I do like bench seats in a truck. However, they aren't the best for when you drive aggressively. So the bench seat might have to go. And then of course I drop in some probably racing styled seats, you know, by Recaro or, you know, any of these other companies. And obviously change the steering wheel out, that kind of stuff. But you know, this little drift truck, it wouldn't have stereo stuff in it and all that kind of stuff. We wouldn't worry about that. Probably wouldn't even have air conditioning. I mean, this would be a kind of stripped down race car type build. But I think that would be super cool. You just don't see anything like that these days. I mean, they do have drift trucks, obviously. Normally they're beat to hell. I mean, they're normally a disaster. So it would be cool to kind of build one. It's kind of like a show car, but still you can have a ton of fun in it. So to wrap up with the truck, drift truck, lots of horsepower, turbocharged, super wild graphics. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Was that something you'd like to see on the channel? Let me know. It's probably gonna happen anyway. I mean, this is something I've obviously been thinking about for a long time. So.
And whether I like it or not.
Yeah, whether Kelly likes it or not, I guess that has something to do with it. But yeah, let me know. Let me know what you guys think, if you'd like to see that sooner rather than later or what. But moving on, one last build. And, you know, we just did trucks. And you guys know I love trucks. If you don't, I do. But I also love motorcycles. So let's talk about building a bike that would be super cool, that we can do on a budget. And I watched this guy on YouTube. It's literally, I'm gonna let you guys in on something, the best channel on YouTube, hands down, is Fortnine. Fortnine. It is phenomenal, and there's a reason it is. I'm not gonna get into it right now, but it's all about motorcycles, man. So definitely check that channel out. The guy on there recently did a video, when I say recent, within the last year or so, did a video on a KLR 650 where he tried to kill it, did everything he could to kill it. He finally did, but he would have been able to fix it in like 2 seconds if he really wanted to. But instead what he did is he tore it all down and he built it all back up again. Really great video. But if you guys don't know, I had a KLR 650, but I had the second generation one. Great motorcycle. When I built that, my goal was to build the best KLR 650 ever. And in my opinion, I have yet to see someone who's done a better job. So in my opinion, I achieved that goal. And after achieving that goal, I kind of took that mindset onto the Prelude. And I think the Prelude turned out amazing. Let me know what you think below if you don't think so. But that was the kind of mindset I had when I built the Prelude. And I'll probably have that mindset going forward with everything that I do. But getting back to the subject at hand, I'd love to build a KLR 650, the first generation, and turn it into an enduro street bike. So if you guys don't know anything about the KLR, it's kind of like this hybrid motorcycle, Kawasaki built. It's supposed to be really good on the street, really good off-road, really good long distance, kind of jack of all trades. If I had to compare it to a vehicle like a car, it would definitely be a Jeep Wrangler. You know, that's the kind of car or motorcycle that the KLR is. So I'd love to take that and turn it into something that's not supposed to be, which is kind of like an awesome handling street bike. So the KLR is an absolutely bomb-proof motorcycle, man. I mean, it does have a little thing inside of the engine called the doohickey. That does go bad. It needs to be changed out.
Is that the technical term?
That actually is the technical term. So that's one thing you have to change out. But other than that, the engine, I mean, just goes and goes and goes. No issues. So instead of changing the bike and trying to make it faster, the way we would make it faster is making it lighter. And again, we'd focus on the handling aspect of it. So the KLR comes with an off-road size wheels. You got a 21-inch up front, a 17 in the rear. And the reason it's staggered like that is because it's better off-road. But we changed all that out and put two 17-inch wheels on it. So a 17-inch wheel up front, a 17-inch wheel in the back. We'd use the Warp 99s or something like that? Warp Racing wheels. You can buy them, you change color of the spokes and stuff like that, you know, it's really cool. And you can get them in like a wider set. So forget the actual size of the front tire on the KLR, but it's really thin. It's like a bicycle tire. We changed that out and put a nice kind of meaty one up front. Something similar to what you might find on a sport bike. So that would really kind of liven up the handling. We'd go ahead and put a big brake kit up front, because they make those. And some aggressive pads for better stopping, because that's one thing about the KLR, the brakes are terrible stock. They're just awful. And go ahead and change up the handlebars, of course. Something way more aggressive. I'd go with like a Carmichael. I think they're called Carmichael. The Carmichael bar with no crossbar. They're thicker than stock. It's really hairy over here as we're walking through this grass. But anyway, the handlebar is significantly thicker than stock. I think stock is like 7/8, and this is like 1.25 or something. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but definitely do something like that. I would lower the front end. I'd lower the front end and the rear, actually. I'd lower the front end probably 2 inches and the rear 1 inch. The KLR comes like with 9 inches of suspension travel for riding off-road. So we'd saw that down as much as we could to, again, bring all that weight, because it's such a heavy motorcycle. It's 400 pounds. We'd bring that weight down low as much as we can to get it to handle better. And then we would, you know, screw around, do a couple other things. One of the things I'd love to do is get rid of the whole dash. The dash bar, the dashboard or the dials on a KLR, they're really old school. I mean, they're really, really dated looking. And you can get this complete dash replacement that's all digital. It's made by a company, I think it's called Vapor. And it's a universal thing, but I've seen them mounted on KLRs and they just look awesome. So get rid of the windscreen, change the front headlight to something kind of more aggressive looking. Maybe an LED light, just an LED light up there, something cool like that. Obviously we're going to change our brake levers, we're going to change handle grips, we're going to change mirrors, probably get rid of the mirrors altogether, or just put a little bar end mirror on like the driver's side or something, and put some really aggressive tires on there, something that's going to grip the road sick and be awesome in the dry and the wet. I'd remove some of those dorky fenders that are on it, or cut them down somehow. Actually, what I would do in the front is I would lower the fender all the way down onto the tire. That's what I would do there. And yeah, you know, motorcycles are a lot simpler than cars, so it's not as much stuff, but I think that would be awesome. So anyway, we are almost at the 3-mile walk mark, and just wanted to kind of let you guys in on what you may be seeing in the future on the channel. I'd love to get your input. Do you think these are great ideas? Do you think they're terrible ideas? Would you love to see something different? Let me know in the comments. Let me know if you like this sort of format. You know, it's kind of like one-on-one conversation as we get a little bit of exercise in. So anyway, guys, that's going to be the video. Thank you so much for watching. Hit that like button, please subscribe, and we'll see you on the next Car Talk Cardio.
Car Talk Cardio.
Later.